reconstruction of Liberia. But the 1325 for us, women activists and women that are fighting on the ground, is our tool. It's our tool to combat, despite the fact that it is taking time to implement it, is our tool. And the case I'm presenting here is a tool to contribute to create a safer environment for elections. You might recall some of those elections. Kenya was one. It was just in CNN, BBC, you open it and you saw in 2007, people killing each other, political violence. My own country, Senegal, was just going about violent conflict because of the election that we were facing in 2012. And I think that the Women's Situation Room, this is the project, was able to be implemented in Senegal in the prevention, but also in Kenya in the recent election. So the Situation Room, the Women's Situation Room, put together the forces of women and their leadership, and here we say 1325, women actually can mediate and have capacity to do that. What is new in the Situation Room is we use ICT tools to mobilize. There is really a wide range of ICT that have been used in any Women's Situation Room that have been put in place so far. It detects early warning signals and deploy early response action for prevention of violence. So it was also experienced in Liberia, in Mali, in Guinea. We are just hoping that it will be also implemented in the coming election in Nigeria. Let me just share with you some of the instruments that the Situation Room use. For example, mobilization. So you just saw the Situation Room where the women were in control. Mobilizing the forces, because in any war we see that what the rebel or others warring factors is mobilizing their armies. So the Situation Room mobilized the force of women through mobile phones, reaching remote areas, giving information on election, civic education, mobilizing to go out and exercise their writing votes. Grassroots women, communities, but also mobile caravans. The Situation Room also mediate, because that's one of the roles that the women can do in the society. You know, sometimes you belong to two warring factions. That's the fact that women can be belonging to different family, taking care in the mother-in-law, family-in-law, but belonging to another ethnic group or even political parties. So the mediation here you see, in our traditional way of dialogue, we say that, you know, these are women who are coming from different political parties, but they're signing a symbol to say no violence from our political parties. That's what, by mediating among the groups. Another one is the monitoring of elections, because we need to give confidence and credibility. So deployment of monitors, but also using the media to be in any polling station, but in a minute sending out to the Situation Room the result of those elections. I think that's give credibility and transparency to the voters as well. So these are some of the elements that I wanted to share with you. There are so many other layers used by the women in the different countries that I have named to make sure that the Situation Room be effective. We are also continue to learn. I'm very happy that SDSN is going to produce a research that we can share with others and which can be replicated but also be adapted, because in every context you need to adapt following that context. So again, the Situation Room received President Macky Sall, who was elected in Senegal, and applaud the efforts of the women to say that, you know, thanks to you, we refrained from the violence and we were able to go to election and build that peaceful environment. When Mrs. Clinton visited Dakar, she applauded the initiative of the Women's Platform as well in her speech. President Obama, recently in Dakar, 2013, recognized the cultural values that guided the women action in the Situation Room. DISO is dialogue. So we use more the issue of we will have tension, conflict will erupt, is part of the human being, but how do we prevent that it become violence? So the culture that we say Ubuntu, that Mandela used to say, our Ubuntu, our culture of dialogue, this is what the DISO that we need to use also in our society.